Oh, look at this, we're gonna dance. So I just want to let everybody know before we begin about how we worked very hard to coordinate our colors.
We look great
Because
with
we
our
had to
artwork.
match the artwork. We showered our wardrobe closets.
We look
right?
good in jewel tones.
That's it, that's exactly it. Hey, it's the professor of home sales, Scott. I'm here today with Lauren. And Lauren works at Highlands Residential Mortgage. Tell us a little bit about you, what you've been doing.
Yeah, I've been on the Tish Ashley team for coming up on 10 years. I'm a lifer here. This platform is phenomenal. We have such a breadth of loan product, and we're really empowered to just do things that are common sense, make good by the client, by the referral partners, and the leadership here is just amazing. So yeah, I've been doing this a long time, and I really love the strategic side of what I get to do.
So for a lot of people out there, getting a mortgage loan is very intimidating. You know, how would you advise those people? What makes you different so that people are less intimidated by the process?
The hardest part is just having the first phone call. I think if somebody is able to just pick up the phone and have that first conversation, you'll realize it is not that intimidating. One of the biggest barriers to entry has always been the credit pull. People are very protective of their credit. They don't want hard inquiries unless they know for sure that they're going to buy a property. And something that we changed about a year ago is we no longer do a hard inquiry for pre-qualification and just exploration purposes.
And for those out there that don't know what a hard inquiry is,
Yes.
we have to get through the jargon from time to time. But, so there's 3 credit reporting agencies, right?
Correct, yes.
TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian.
Yes, sir.
And so when you do a hard pull, you pull all 3.
Yes, and it results in an inquiry on the credit report, which could impact your credit scores because it lets the bureaus know that you're going to borrow money from somebody. So it can impact your credit scores slightly. But now for just the exploration of figuring out if you want to buy a home, seeing what numbers look like, we do a soft inquiry, which does not result in any impact whatsoever to your scores.
Okay.
But what it does do is it gives us a very accurate depiction of your credit scores that we're going to see when we do a hard inquiry if you proceed to buy a home. And it shows us your debt load so we can properly counsel you, make sure you qualify for a home purchase. So it gives us all the benefit with none of the risk to the buyer.
So what if when you do the credit pull on me that there's the word derogatory, or I made a late payment, or I have an account that I disputed because, I was mad at them. I didn't want to pay them. What happens in those situations?
It depends. A lot of times people have derogatory trade lines and you don't have to do anything. We can leave them alone, ignore them for the purchase. In some instances, especially on government loans like FHA or VA, they may require us to remove the disputes on the derogatory accounts.
And you can do that? You
Yes.
can help do that?
Yes, we can help them get those
Okay,
removed.
all right.
It's super simple. It is free to do, and then in other cases we don't have to do anything at all.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not that part is not intimidating.
At the end of the day, don't be intimidated for qualifying for a mortgage loan, for reaching out there. Like Lauren says, the most difficult thing is making the first call. Once you make that call and you agree to have your soft credit pull done, then that can unlock the door for Lauren to look at the numbers, to look at your finances and make some recommendations.
Correct. Yes.
All right. And how do they reach out to you?
You can call us, text us, apply at laurenstamper.com, and that our turn time is literally next day. So once they give us their information, we hit the ground running to get you some numbers and start building out a plan for you that works for your budget and your goals.
So apply today if you want to get started. Stamper. Lauren, after you call her, tell me about the call. How does the call go once they reach out to you? What's it like back and forth?
Yeah, so when somebody reaches out about preparing to buy a home, I'm always asking the same questions. I want to know what you're comfortable spending on a monthly basis and how much cash you're prepared to part with. Those 2 things help me back into really what price range a home is going to best meet your goals and budget. The most popular question I get, well, 2, is one is, how much do I qualify for? That honestly is not typically relevant to our conversations because we can lend you more than most people are comfortable spending. So I'm interested in the budget first, and then let's back into what the right price range of home is. How do we get you there?
Kind of like a commonsensical approach.
Yes, exactly. And then the second thing people ask me is, what is your interest rate? So we will cover that on another segment.
Okay.
That is a great loaded question that I'd love to address.
So after they make the phone calls and you get the information, so that you want to know how much cash they can bring to the table,
Yep.
what they're comfortable with their monthly payment,
Yep.
and then How does it work from there?
Yeah, so once I've got their budget, then they're gonna complete an application. We do the soft pull on credit, so I know what their credit score looks like, what the debt load looks like, and I start working numbers so I can show them some estimates to figure out from top to bottom range of what they're comfortable with, where do they really want to be.
So when you come out and look for a Bloomfield home, rather than just saying, oh, I don't know what I qualify for, you would say, oh, well, you qualify from anywhere from 500 to 550. Correct, to keep you in that budget with the cash that you're looking to close.
Yes.
So if you will, it's a good idea if you get pre-approved or if you contact Lauren in advance so that when you do come shop for a home, you'll have a better idea and a more realistic approach as to what
you can afford and what houses you should be looking at. Yep, exactly.
Right. A lot of times people want to know what the interest rate is, right? But people don't often know that the interest rate fluctuates every day like the stock market. It's up, it's down. It is kind of tied to the bonds, but there's a lot of other factors that play into it, economic, political factors. I hate to say it, but it's true. So there's so many factors. So it's kind of a loaded question what is your interest rate? Because another thing is, what's your credit score? That's another question. So if you ask me what the interest rate is, I may say, what's your credit score?
Exactly.
Right? So
yes.
What's your interest rate today?
Yeah.
What's your favorite question?
Very common question, fair question, because people want to know what the cost to borrow money is going to look like. And it depends because the interest rates depend on which loan type you're doing. Are we doing a conventional loan or are we doing an FHA loan? Is your credit score 650 or is it 750? There's a whole lot of different factors that can impact the interest rates. And even once we know the loan type, the down payment, the credit score, there's 10 to 12 interest rates I can quote you on any given day. So when somebody just asks, what is your interest rate? Which one? It depends on if you want one that's completely free, you don't have to pay anything to lock it in, or if you want to spend money to buy down the interest rate.
And so when you say spend money to buy down the interest rates, I've heard people refer to that as points.
Yes.
Paying points.
Correct.
And a point is
1% of your loan amount.
Of the loan amount. Okay. All right.
Yes. And a good rule of thumb is every 1 point you pay should get you around 0.25% better interest rate, but it's not a stair-step rate card. So sometimes 1 point could get you 3/8 better in interest rate. So it really just depends. And the way that I approach it is once somebody's under contract and when we're within about a month of closing, I start watching the market daily for them. And when we have good market days, I present 4 or 5 options to choose from so you can see in a table what the interest rate is, the monthly payment, and the cash spend at closing side by side and make an informed decision. And usually when people see it that way, they're very quick. They have a gut reaction to one that best meets their budget of monthly payment versus cash spend.
So in some regards, it's like going to Vegas because you're gambling. If you that rate keeps going up and down and up and down, but when you reach out to them and say, hey, seems to me like a good time to do what it's called locking the rate.
Yes, you can lock in your interest rate and then you commit to that day's rate pricing and then you're done. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You've got your interest rate. You chose it.
And how far out can you lock the interest rate?
Up to 60 days out is typical, but honestly, the pricing gets better generally with the shorter the lock. So I like to get within around 30 days.
30 days, usually 1/8 of a point less if you instead versus 60.
Sometimes a quarter. Depends on what analysts think is going to happen in the next 60 days.
So you can see it's a puzzle. It's like a Rubik's Cube puzzle, right? You have to know how to play the game. There's a lot of factors in. You need to have an expert that's going to help you with all the factors.
Yes.
You need to have an expert in your corner. There's obviously people that have homes to sell. Some people don't want to go through the anguish of having to clean the house up. You're going to show the house, the whole thing with getting the house ready while you're living in it. There's a program that Lauren has where they'll actually let you purchase a new home from Bloomfield Homes and then sell the existing home and close on the existing home. And tell us a little bit of how that works.
Yes, we just call it the buy before you sell program. It reduces stress during the process of having a contingent contract where you have to sell your home before you get into the new one. And a lot of people say, well, I need the cash that is in my home equity to buy the new home. And we've got a solution for that. We can access equity in your home so that you've got your down payment for the new one, and we can exclude your current housing payment on the current home if you need to help you qualify for the new one. So we've got a really streamlined, sleek product for that, and it has worked beautifully for many of our clients that are in that situation where they've got a home to offload, but they don't want to have to be out of that before they get into the new one.
But there's a certain level of equity that they have to have, though, right? I mean, they have to have so much money
to borrow equity out of it. Yes, but
and so you're borrowing the equity out of it for the down payment.
Correct. Yes.
And then do you recast the loan?
You absolutely can. Yes.
Okay.
If you want to.
So let's talk briefly about recasting. It's another thing that a lot of people aren't aware of. So I buy that Bloomfield home, right? I put my home up for sale, right? I sell my home. I get the money out of my home to close on the new Bloomfield home, but then I need to settle up on the equity on the other one. How does that work?
Yeah, so if we borrow equity to get into the new home, then once your current home sells, your main mortgage and the second loan that we borrowed equity from all gets paid off out of your proceeds. And whatever proceeds are left, if you want to go ahead and dump that into the new home that you already closed on and are moved into, you can recast your loan. Recasting is different than refinancing in that you're just doing a second down payment. It doesn't change your loan terms. There's not the same closing costs associated as refinancing.
It's just a lot of attorney fees and recording fees, basically.
No, it's literally $300 to
$300 to recast a loan?
$300 to recast a loan, and they update the monthly P&I payment based on the new loan amount.
Okay. P&I is principal and interest.
Yes, sorry, principal and interest. Yes.
There's always jargon in mortgage. These guys have it or out in their brain. It flows in and out. I don't know what they dream about at night. God only knows.
It's not that exciting. We're very nerdy.
They wake up in the middle of the night worrying about whether or not this fine detail was done, right?
Yeah. We definitely keep a lot of tabs open in our brains at all times. But yes, the recast is a great tool if you're just going to put minimum down on the new home, and then when your home sells, you can do a second down payment. It's very cheap to do, and it recalculates your monthly payments. So it's a tool that's used very often with our clients.
There are so many tools in their tool bags. I can't begin to tell you. Every time I talk with Lauren or Tish, I'm just amazed at the level of knowledge and understanding of the mortgage industry. So if you're looking for a lender, if you're looking for a new home, come see me. I'm in Midlothian, and Lauren is available by phone.
What's your phone number?
What's your phone number?
972-991-4100.
Lauren Stamper. Thank you. Hey, Professor of Sales. You forget what I am. But we got to get a name for you, because you have to have an icon. You have to have a name out there. I want you to think of a name.
Lauren the Lender?
Lauren the Lender?
Will that work?
I don't know. And you're going to come out like this with big arms on. So